HMO, was it? Because there was some reports it was a warehouse. It was an HMO.
It was an HMO. Okay. So it was a normal house. You couldn't tell by looking at it. You know, it just looked like a small house, but inside it was Aladdin's cave. So there was literally 6 or 7 rooms full of tools to the top. And we tried to zone off all sections, so zone 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it, up to 5. But then you go through the garden, there was another room at the back. They had another 2 rooms inside it full of tools. It was unbelievable. I've never seen that many tools in one place. I mean, we say car boots are bad, but then these people selling it on eBay and all these different platforms, you know, this is the operation they were doing. So we've got a massive problem with tool theft, and it's not getting any better. And it's really difficult for tradespeople because a person like myself who's self-employed but his own business, to recover from something like that. When I lost £8,500, honestly, even it's been a few years, 2-3 years now, I still haven't recovered fully. Honestly, the amount of damage to do to the vans, that's a separate issue. You don't get insurance if you've been broken up a few times, you know, your van's been broken a few times. They don't want to insure you. That cost goes up. You start refusing jobs because you can't see your van. That's a loss of income. There's so many effects to tool theft, which they don't understand. People think that you've just lost a screwdriver or a drill. That is not the case. Specialist equipment, like a gas engineer, one of my tools could cost up to £2,500, where these guys are flogging them off on eBay and Amazon, eBay and Facebook Marketplace for a fraction of the price, and they're making a fortune out of it.
It's all online marketplaces, isn't it, that are issue. You said £8,500 is the amount you've lost, and I can't imagine losing a sum of money like that. I mean, that is unbelievable. And actually, there are people who've lost even more than that.
Of course, a lot more than that, and it's happened to them a few times. I was a victim the first time when I lost it. The second time, they damaged my van trying to get in again because I held all the locks. But again, it's the damage to the time ago. So they have been doing it for a long time. I think the assets should be seized straight away. They shouldn't be let out on bail, and they should really feel the full force of the law this time.
Now, the data.
And you've got to make examples of these people. I mean, if you don't do it, they've got no deterrent. They'll carry on doing it.
Data from the Lib Dems between 2019 and 2025, there were over 57,000 cases of tool theft. Now, I seem to remember in 2023 there were 46,000 cases, so I think there's that sort of an underestimate, although I don't blame them. I think it's difficult getting the data from police forces. But as you say, 99% of those cases were closed.
You can't find owners for them because they put initials on them. If you were to mark it with a forensic system, such as selector DNA, at least the police can identify and return the tools back to you straight away. The ones that have them marked have got the phone call and they will be getting the tools back. But again, it is a difficult task for the police to go through all these tools. As a tradesperson, I recognise most of the tools. But again, they ask me the question, do you think, can we return these tools? And I'm like, I wouldn't know. Putting an initial on their PNQ, DMT, it means absolutely nothing to them. And it's a problem because it will end up going in the auction again. And then the cycle starts all over again. They'll buy it off the auction, take it down to the car boot sale, show the same receipt over and over again while they carry on breaking into vans. Until this stops, they won't stop tool theft. Because I've said it from 2 years ago, police need to stop putting it into auction. If they want to make something out of it, you'd rather scrap the tools and then keep that money and carry on. Don't put it back into circulation.
Lastly, we're over time, but briefly, Shreb, when it comes to the people buying these tools as well, do they need to take some accountability? Because if you are buying a sort of power tool that is a tenth of the price it should be, I mean, surely the people actually purchasing these tools at car boot sales, for example, where it is where they've been nicked, need to take some responsibility.
Of course they do, but then again, you could also be done for handling stolen goods, because if the tool is forensically marked and it's found in your possession, you are responsible for that tool. Because when you
get a score and a simple plan to follow.
At Ocado, you'll save 25% on your first shop and get free delivery, which means if you were to buy a 4-cheese pizza, you'd basically be getting one of the cheeses for free. Save and splurge at Ocado, the online supermarket. Geographical and other restrictions. Minimum spend £60 and charges apply. New customers only. Maximum saving £20. Terms at ocado.com.
At Kia, we have an award-winning range of electric cars for you to discover. From the compact SUV, the Kia EV3, and our latest hatchback, the Kia EV4, to our stylish new Kia EV5, the all-electric family SUV. Discover what driving electric really means. And if you order any Kia electric car by March 31st, you'll enjoy your first 2 services free. Search Discover Your Kia EV to book your test drive today.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
T's and C's apply.
You want £1 million?
I'd love £1 million.
So you enter the birthday draw and you think of a way to spend £1 million.
I'd buy a really nice suit.
It's a lucky day and you win Draw and enter now. From Global and ITV, 18 plus UK only, no purchase necessary.
Check you're on track for a happy retirement with PensionBee's easy-to-use app. Because when your pension is in a good place, you're in a good place. When investing, your capital is at risk.
Henry Riley on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
4:21, good afternoon, it's Henry Riley here on LBC, taking your opinions, your experiences on tool theft. I've been trying to do some stories on this for a long time. If you ask police for their sort of data that comes to tools being nicked, they often say, oh, it's not sort of recorded in the same way. So it's very hard to get a national picture of how much of an issue this is. We hear about the Met in London, and this operation where they uncovered £2 million, maybe more than that, according to our previous guest, at an HMO in Ilford, House of Multiple Occupancies in Ilford. We know it happens in London to a big extent, but I'd like to get a national picture as well. If you are out of London, bluntly, if you are in another country, if you are in another region, do give me a call and let me know if it is a problem round where you are, if you worry that it's all very well the Met taking action on this, but they're fair to them, but we need our local force to go further and faster as well. Have you been a victim of tool theft? What was taken? Did you ever recover that money back? And I'm not a tradesperson, so how much is this kit worth that you lost? Did you lose hundreds of pounds? Did you lose thousands of pounds? Did you even, I don't know, lose tens of thousands of pounds if you had loads of your kit nicked and damage to your van as well? So has it happened to you, and what can be done to crack down on this and to stop people being in a situation where they're having their vans broken into? 0345 6060 973 is the number to call. Michael's in Red Hill. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Hi, what's your experience? Are you a tradesperson yourself, or...?
I am, yes.
Okay, that's, the nervous laugh makes me think this might happen to you, Michael.
It has, yeah. It's happened as an apprentice, funnily enough, about 4.5 years ago.
Okay, what was the situation? Where were you? What was taken?
So I work in supermarkets, and in London, it's not like parking in London ain't very great. So you have to walk to like all your jobs and stuff, and sometimes you're stuck and you have to park in like a really dodgy place. And I parked on the high street, but sometimes you have to leave your van in dodgy places. But what happened to me was I went into, so we used to go out, we used to have an engineer, an apprentice, we'd meet up with them, and then, you know, that would do our work. I left my van on the side of a road in a job in Norfolk, and I went in there for 5 minutes. I come back and I noticed as I was driving off that my van was saying, please shut the rear door. I got out and I see this massive drill hole straight through the door.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And I looked inside and all I had was a little Stanley tool bag. No tools or anything, just the odd screwdriver. But they didn't take anything. But they tried looking in there because I think they might have knew that it was a company.
Was there anything in there? Sorry. So what was in there?
Nothing. just like polywork.
Right.
And a Stanley Fat Max bag with a few insulated screwdrivers.
Got it. And what do you do now, job-wise? Are you doing the same thing working in supermarkets, or?
I do, yeah.
Can I ask broadly what it is, or?
Yeah, it's refrigeration.
Right. Okay. So now you are presumably carrying expensive tools around with you, right?
Yes. Luckily, I don't own any. They do come to the, I would say, thousands bracket, some of the tools and equipment you have.
What was you doing a mix of I mean, obviously you say you don't own them, but what happens? Are they marked, or do you have a sort of camera on your van, or what do you do?
I don't have any like cameras on my van. I don't think they're marked. They're probably marked with an asset number that belongs to the company.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any like selector DNA or anything like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in and telling us your experience. I'm actually sort of pleased in a way that you didn't have any expensive kit on you, obviously, and that nothing was taken. But just shows you how, I mean, the figures we have are also the cases that are reported and the figures that we know about. If you look at situations like Michael. I don't know if Michael sort of reported this, but there'll be many more cases where the people probably decide it's not worth it. The equipment in there isn't worth enough in order to break in. Thank you very much, Michael. Let's go to Jim, actually, on WhatsApp says, we all know who is behind these tool gangs, same as the phone gangs. Let's hit the thieves instead of blaming people for being a victim of crime. We know who they are. Andrew says, ban all power tools from being sold at car boot sales. Andrew in Brighton. If you were at a car boot sale today, don't tell me which one it was, but did you spot a sort of plethora of tools that you thought, hold on a second, why have they got so many of these power tools and why are they being sold at a tenth of the price at which they are worth? Fishing will be going on, because we know it happens at car boot sales. Do you know what I didn't realise as well, where it happens quite often, is in hotel car parks. Because often you get tradespeople who have to spend the night at a hotel because they're doing a job and they're booked in, and it's often in those car parks where these lowlives break in because they know that, well, that ultimately they'll probably have some luck with some vans there. I mean, we need the hotels to do more, we need the police to do more in making sure that can't happen. William says, people caught stealing or handling stolen tools of someone's trade should face 3 times the sentence for regular thieves. It causes misery to tradespeople and homeowners whose jobs get cancelled and puts all our insurance and therefore costs up. Gary's in Calais. Hello, Gary.
Hello, sir. How are we doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Have you got experience of this?
Absolutely, shed loads of it. Literally, shed loads of it. I started in construction back in 74, apprentice electrician, working on the fire alarm system, security. I mean, we've had site huts broken into where they took the roof off the site hut to clear all the tools out from the inside, and that was on a factory.
What? They took the roof off?
They took the roof off the site hut. We come in the morning, look down the end of the warehouse, and every single tool inside had gone. Yes, back then, and this was 1979, the police would turn up and have a look at what happened. I've had power tools go from, and this is all over the country, power tools go, similar thing, people creep onto site at night, late in the evening, etc., smash down the doors of the site hut, grab the power tools they see. One of the points I'd make, we always had to mark our plant, always had to mark our drills, proper drill into them with the name of the company. Once those tools started getting of a certain expense, they would go.
Right.
Now, the other point to remember, most of the power tools used on site are 110 volts. You can't use them at home unless you've got a charger, etc., or you've got power. Right. So the people buying these tools are other tradespeople.
And do you think they know? So
Absolutely.
You can't not know, can you? You know you're getting a bargain, mostly.
I mean, always actually, it's been going since the 80s. It's almost like you've got a story that sort of man's hat blows off in High Street. We've run out of everything else to talk about. Let's go on this one.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I would say is I think because I remember reading about this and talking to Schweb, our campaigner, there seems to be that, as is the case with a lot of issues, sort of cost of living meant that people were just pinching this. And to be blunt, organised crime, where there were, I mean, they're nicking phones, they're now nicking tools.
That's the other, sorry, that's the other point. Back in the 80s, if I go back to the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, the police would come down and say, thought this had happened, we have got a travelling part of the community parked up the road.
Right, really?
Yeah, that's where we'll go. And then it would go on to Eastern Europeans. You know, the biggest crime wave, they would then turn around and go, oh, it's Eastern Europeans. Yeah, of course it always was. Yeah, really, they're just the next wave. And now you've got the likes of everyone going on. Oh, of course, if anything, those tools are probably being shipped out. And you're talking stuff like, I remember back in, I think it was 79, people were nicking all the big garden kit that was then being housed in Essex and then was being sent to the continent.
Yeah, well, and I remember this is Jeremy Clarkson talking about, I suppose it is technically tool theft, but if you think tools are, farming tools are unbelievable, the amount of money that you can go on that, and that is an issue as well, this sort of rural problems. Gary, thank you. Really nice to talk to you in Calais. John, coming to you next. 0345 6060 973. Have you been a victim of tool theft? How much have you lost? What needs to change in order to clamp down on it? We'll continue to take your views. Plus,
it is not right that people who don't go to university are having to bear all the cost for others to do so.
The Chancellor is still facing quite a lot of anger from young people across the country this weekend after insisting to LBC that student loan repayments, which young graduates are having to make, are fair. We'll discuss that next. 4:30 The Time, the news with James Kitchen.
There are growing calls from ministers for Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor to testify before the US Congress about his links to Jeffrey Epstein. The former prince has been told the paedophile's victims should be given all they deserve and need. Emergency services in Ukraine say a Russian drone strike on a bus has killed at least 15 people. 7 more wounded in the attack on the vehicle, which was carrying mine workers in the southeastern city of Dnipro. And an 18-year-old who was injured in a fire at a bar in Switzerland during New Year's Eve celebrations has died in hospital. The teenager's death brings the total number killed at the venue in Montana to 41. LBC weather cloudy for most as rain clears its way southeastwards. Patchy drizzle in places with stronger winds across the far northeast. Clear skies in Wales to the southwest and across Northern Ireland, leading to icy stretches and fog patches. Lows overnight of -3 degrees.
LBC. Selling your car can be super simple if you choose We Buy Any Car. Now in their 20th year, they're on average 11 minutes away. So help is never far. If only we could make finding a good driving song simpler. No. Oh, definitely not. We Buy Any Car. Selling made simple. To sell your car today, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
You know that guy I've been seeing? Turns out my sister's been seeing him too. Oh, really? And Andy's been seeing Kelly at number 56. And Dave, her brother. Yep.
Specsavers opticians and audiologists own and run their stores. So your care is their business, which can make them really popular.
I've got something to tell you. I've got to go for an hour with him this afternoon.
Specsavers, your care is our business. Book an appointment today.
Have you ever felt like your investment advisor is giving you an off-the-shelf retirement plan? That they just want to put you in a box? But who wants that? At Fisher Investments UK, we never put you in a box. We create a plan that's just right for you because it's only right for us if it's right for you. Fisher Investments UK, retirement advice that's as individual as you are. Learn more at fisherinvestments.co.uk. Investing involves the risk of loss. Fisher Investments UK is regulated by the UK Financial Conduct Authority.
I'm Leah, and this is my NHS story. I could just feel my body didn't feel right, and my GP referred me to CBC. Had some blood tests done, and within 24 hours I had my results, and that just reassured me that I was being taken seriously.
The government is opening new community diagnostic centres, with many already available 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, so the NHS can be there for all of us when we need it. Find your closest one at gov.uk/NHS Fit for the Future, available England-wide.
Everything breakfast at Ocado. Save on yoghurt, cereal, and get a great price on milk, so you can splurge on eggs, even from quails. Perfect if you have the urge to eat a dozen eggs, but you aren't that hungry. Save and splurge at Ocado, the online supermarket. Select lines only, geographical restrictions, minimum spend and charges apply. Offers end 24th of Feb. Terms and offer info at ocado.com/terms.
When you're smiling, Allen Dental Root Clinics, with over 5,000 top-rated Google reviews. Keep on smiling.
This is LBC with Henry Riley. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
4:34 is the time. Good afternoon. You're listening to Henry Riley here on LBC. We're talking tool theft this hour. The Lib Dems, and you may have heard my interview with Sred Davey right at the top of this hour. They are launching Operation Ironclad. A very dramatic name, but it is to bring the hammer down on tool thieves, so says the Lib Dem leader. Hearing this afternoon whether you've been a victim of tool theft yourself. How much have you lost? And how best do we go about tackling it? I think that all of this talk about the sort of UV markings and labelling is a good idea, great, but also we need to stop people being able to think they can just brazenly break into vans in the first place. And by the way, in the next hour, I don't know if you've seen this shocking footage online of what happened on Richmond High Street the other day. Yesterday. By the way, this happened on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. So mid-morning, where people were breaking into a jeweller's with a hammer, and the poor frightened staff in there are having to sort of wrestle some of the jewellery back. It's a really uncomfortable watch, actually, that's been going viral, as we say, on social media. So we're going to be talking with, in fact, the leader of Richmond Council about that in the next hour. Another topic I'm very keen to discuss is this... well, I mean, there seems to be a lot of pressure on the government over it, building pressure over student loans, and the Chancellor sort of boxing herself in, really. Chancellor Rachel Reeves has described the student loan systems fair and reasonable after criticism over the decision to freeze the repayment threshold for some borrowers. This was sparked earlier this week by an interview given to LBC, our political editor Natasha Clark, by the Chancellor Rachel Reeves.
It is important that you don't have to start paying back the student loan until you earn enough money. And that is the point of the student loan system, that you get the loan, you get that great university education, and you only pay it back if you can afford to do so. And obviously after a period of time, that gets written off entirely. So if you are able to get a job that pays a good wage, you'll pay that money back quicker. But if you're never able to repay, that loan will eventually be written off. I think that is a fair system. Around half of people go to university today, but half don't. And it is not right that people who don't go to university are having to bear all the cost for others to do so.
Rachel Reeves speaking with LBC earlier this week. This morning, my colleague Lewis Goodall questioned the Cabinet colleague of Rachel Reeves, Housing Secretary Steve Reed, about whether the student loan system is, in reality, actually just a tax on graduates.
It has features of a graduate tax. That is true, but I think we had to find a way to pay for the increase in people going to higher and further education that didn't disadvantage those people who don't go and get that education. These people earn more, so I think it's only right we should pay.
Rachel Cunliffe is the senior associate editor of the New Statesman and joins me now. Rachel, thank you very much for speaking with us. Your view on whether the government are going to have to sort of change tact on this, do you think?
Well, firstly, it's just so positive to see pressure mounting and this finally get to the top of the political conversation. Some of us, myself included, have been trying to get politicians to notice it for 5 to 10 years now, because basically the system has the worst aspects of both a loan and a tax. Politicians talk about it like it's a tax when it suits them, saying you won't start paying it back until a certain level, etc., etc. But it's a tax that you can dodge, essentially, by having wealthy parents who will pay your fees up front. It's also a tax which people who went to university before tuition fees don't have to pay at all. Like, for example, Rachel Reeves, she was very happy to have other people pay for her university education, but it also functions like a loan in the sense that it's got interest that is actually quite a lot higher than you'd expect for a loan over that time period. It makes it virtually impossible to pay back. So it's incredibly badly designed on every level. It doesn't actually fund university to provide kind of courses that we want you to in high-tech, STEM, engineering, medicine, etc., either. So it kind of fails on basically every conceivable term.
Other than that, it's flawless. If we talk about the threshold of repayments as well, you cannot argue that something is not a tax when you freeze, you don't stick up the sort of repayment threshold in line with inflation. Surely that is sort of making it a tax if you freeze that.
Yeah, there's a growing realisation that freezing the tax threshold in general, as Rachel Reeves and the chancellors before her have done, it's a self-tax. It's not raising the tax rate, but it is increasing the amount of tax that people will pay. And for graduates who are on the post-2012 system, they get a double self-tax because the repayment thresholds have been frozen. That's actually a breach, or it's contradictory to what tells when those students signed up. So if there are people who feel that they have had these products kind of missold to them, that is the government going back on what it said it would do when they signed up, which was that the threshold would raise the average earning. So again, it's a way to look at the pressures on the government and go, who do we want to pay for this? Graduates, but specifically graduates who started university after 2012.
You know, though, yourself, Rachel, that the government may well think this is bad behind
any chance that they would upgrade the security, even if we had to, pay an extra 1,000, 1,500, $2,000. And they didn't dismiss me, but what they did say is they're supplying to big councils. Yorkshire Council takes 400 or 500 vehicles per year. So to add 2,000 extra to a vehicle, that's not going to happen. So it's a small fry like us that's paying for it, you know.
Yeah. And have you had someone you know, or maybe yourself, who's been a victim of it? Hence why you got involved with speaking to the companies. Yeah.
I have, yeah. Okay. I've been broken into 3 or 4 times, and once in a hotel car park in East London.
Really? I said it earlier on about hotel. And do you mind me asking how much you think was taken in monetary value?
Nothing in the
Police stolen vehicle squad in the late 1980s. We produced a pamphlet and film about this very subject, but initially aimed at a large contractor's plant. I personally delivered pamphlets to the Met Police. Our message then was security and identification. It still should be. I have a copy of the pamphlet somewhere. Oh, send it in, Steve. Email me, henry.riley@global.com, because I'd like to see that. If you were, particularly in the 1980s as well, if you were delivering it to the Met Police. This from Ben says, can we be honest about this? I'm a former tree surgeon. I've had in excess of £60,000 worth of tools stolen over a few years. The so-called organised crime gangs are, in truth, people of no fixed abode who roam the country. I've seen them on CCTV, so it accepts no slurs. I, along with fellow tree surgeons, know this. This is willful blindness by the police for the same reason applied to the rape gangs, you say, which was the grooming gangs. Scandal. The authorities are more concerned about upsetting certain groups than protecting people, the working people, says Ben in Brighton. More calls on this in a moment. Have you been a victim of tool theft, and what to be done in order to prevent it? It is 5:45.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
We've had migration mathematics.